Okay.
So are there certain strengths that each of those Twitter and Facebook have that we can take advantage of?
Okay. Great. Yes?
Sort of getting back to that nuts and bolts of how organizations are using this mechanism in direct fundraising to perhaps younger constituencies.
Okay. Okay, great. These are my notes. I will record them as I can. One thing, I'm going to sort of go back and forth with the podium here. One thing that Jill was very kind enough to introduce me as a marketer. I did work for a startup. Right after this agency world, I raised money for ALS TBI Foundation in Cambridge. And so fortunately, I was in your shoes about 5 years ago as a fundraiser too. And so as social media was starting to break out about 5 years ago, but I've been in your shoes. I know what the challenges are in fundraising and raising money for your cause. So let's jump into, thank you for that. Let's jump into the basics. And I think it's important here to give you some context because this gives you a lot more understanding of why are we here today. So this guy over here, we all know this person here, that's Goodridge with the printing press. In 1891, we had this, the radio's invented and commercial use not long thereafter. The television, 1928. The internet, which Al Gore invented in 1989. And then through 2007, when this really sort of started off, the first real social networking organization was classmates.com, for all you historians in social media. And if you've seen there's a video out there called The Social Media Revolution. Have you seen it? I may play it towards the end if you haven't seen it, but it gives you some pretty alarming statistics about how fast social media is spreading. And so to give you an idea, the great barometer here is how social media has grown so quickly. So, and the number here is 50 million users. So 50 million users. For a radio to get 50 million users, it took 31 years. For TV to get 50 million users, it took, I think, 17 years. For the internet to get 50 million users, it took, once it got started, I think it took 3 or 4 years. For the iPod to get 50 million users, it took 9 months. Okay? For Facebook to reach 100 million users, it took them, I think, 6 months. That was in the past 6 months. So, and then the statistic that gets thrown around a lot, which is really kind of alarming, is, or not alarming, but kind of amazing, is if Facebook were a country, it would be the 4th largest country in the world. So put that into your data points and say, wait, there's 600 million people on Facebook right now. So you as an organization, should you go there? Probably. But the hard part is a lot of other organizations like you are doing the same thing. So how do you sort of get through the noise of social media? So I hope that gives you a little bit of reality for setting the scene. And so let's just do a review here. I like doing this because it does cover the whole space. Social media, again, it's about relationships and content and people. So blogs is social media. This is the logo for WordPress. A wiki, the most popular wiki in the world is Wikipedia. So wiki is user-generated content. Social networks, we all know what they are. The big ones are Facebook and LinkedIn, and a lot of other smaller online networks that are private. News. Mashable is a social networking news site. If you were to, a good takeaway from today would be, go to Mashable.com every day and get your news. And that will tell you everything you want to know about social media in general, not necessarily nonprofit fundraising, but you'll really get pretty clued into it. Social bookmarks, you've heard of Stumble Upon and Dig. That's another way of people sharing what they like to read. So if I see a nice article on CNN about healthcare reform and I want to forward it to other people, I can dig it online or I can stumble upon it, and then all those sites will come to the top, and that's where user-generated content, the people who are, these people are validating the news and what they're reading, so all the stuff that they're reading rises to the top. And multimedia sharing. I think we're going to spend a bit of time on this because it is about content. You can talk all about how great your organization is and how important your cause is, but how do you get people to come to your site and get people talking about UMass Lowell, or City Year, or Harvard Medical School, or the Appalachian Mountain Club. So those things we'll talk about. Any questions right now? Feel free to jump in with a question. Okay, so key takeaways today. Social media is not a place to plug yourself or your institution. It's not a cheap and easy alternative. You can read, I'm not going to talk about it too much, but you get the idea. It really is it's a fast-moving, pretty exciting place to be in. But these are some of the key messages I like to deliver, is that it's hard, it's ongoing, it's real, it's honest, it's transparent, and it is changing the way people are doing their business. Okay, so here come some of the objections, and I'll cover some of these objections as we go through this. All right, it's just a bunch of teenagers. It's just my daughter who's online at 8 o'clock at night talking to her boyfriend on Facebook. But it's really not. I think you all know this. Everyone in this room has raised their hand. I think everyone's on Facebook. The fastest growing segment are women 45 and above. I don't have time for it. It's true. You don't have time for it. It's a very hard thing to manage. And so we'll try to uncover this. How do you find time for it? But if you know this stat, more people spend time on social networks than on email. Just bake that into your thinking about how you spend your day. What's my ROI? That's the main question. I'll try to answer it today, but it's the experts in the business can't try to figure it out quite yet. It's still evolving, but we'll scratch the surface of that a little bit. My interpretation of this is social media. It's social. Very nature, it's about relationships. So you can't really put a price tag on the relationships you make online or offline. I have 100 good friends in my life, aunts, uncles, cousins, classmates, high school. What is the value of my network and my relationships in my personal life? You can't really put a price tag on that. And the same thing happens with online, social media. How do you quantify those relationships? It's very, very hard to do. One of the, a great article to read, I'll send you the link, but this is an article that was written about 3 months ago, all about what's a friend worth? Decoding digital relationships will change how businesses market, manage, and recruit. So in this article, they talked about the average Facebook user has average 500 friends. Okay, they took sort of a sample. So let's call him Joe. Joe has 500 friends and he's on Facebook a half hour a day. He really only trusts the recommendations and thoughts and ideas of 27 of those friends. Okay, out of those 27 friends, only 4 or 5 of those friends are his nearest and dearest friends who he's going to trust with his life, his money, whatever it may be. So where the rubber meets the road is, and what companies are trying to figure out, is how all these things are intertwined. So where a lot of the research is going on right now, a lot of money is being spent right now at Harvard, at Stanford, at MIT, and all these think tanks across the country. They're spending millions of dollars thinking about, I just missed this stuff. Can you make any sense of this? And so if you can make sense of these relationships, jackpot.